Hey y'all, it's me, Miss B. Today we're talking about absolute value equations. We're on day 2, so we're going to scroll down to where it says pattern for finding solutions. That's where we're starting today. Okay, so here's the pattern for finding solutions. First, what you're going to do is you're going to isolate the absolute value bars. All right. Secondly, you're going to write the inequality. And then finally, you're going to solve. There is a note here. It says flip the sign, so we have to decide if it's an and or an or inequality. We have to change the sign for both equations we write. All right, so for and, there's a little phrase to help us remember. So when we have greater than, great or than, it's going to be an or inequality. So it's going to look like these are our signs. Or we might have, so that's for or we might have less than, which our signs would look like this. Okay? And in order to do these two things, we have to keep in mind that our absolute value needs to be on the left. Okay, so here we are looking at the graphs of absolute value inequalities. So when we do that, we just have to look at the inequality sign in the problem. So for greater than, it's going to look like this. And so because it's or, our arrows should be pointing out from each other. Okay, so we're going to hop into these equations. These are all greater thans. Okay, so when we do this, we have to get the inequality symbol on its own. We've already done that. And then we have to set up two separate equations. So the first one, all we're going to do is drop the inequality sign. We're going to drop the absolute value. For the second one, we're going to drop, flip, and make it negative. So drop, flip, and make it negative. Okay, and we have to remember that in the end we're going to have or. So we go ahead and solve, divide both sides by 3 on this one. We get x greater than or equal to 3. Then for this one we divide by 3. We get x less than or equal to negative 3. So this right here is our answer. And so for our graph, at 3, we're going to have a closed circle because of this underline here. And then the arrow is pointing to the right. And then for x is less than negative 3, we're going to have a closed dot on negative 3 pointing to the left. Okay, so then for this next one, step 1, we have to isolate our absolute value. So right now we have this plus 2 on here, so we need to get rid of that. So we'll subtract 2 from both sides. We get x minus 2 is greater than 3. We have greater than, so it's an or, so we're going to have our equation, just drop the absolute value. I wrote the wrong number. Drop the absolute value. And then our second one, we drop that absolute value, flip our sign, make it negative, and solve. So we'll add 2. So x is less than 5, or x is greater than 5. then add 2, x is less than -1. And we do want to put an or in between there. So that right there is our answer. Let's go ahead and graph it. So we've got an open dot on 5. Open dot on 5 going to the left, or I'm sorry, to the right, and then a open dot on -1 going to the left. All right, next up we have less than. So that's gonna be these symbols. Okay, so first we isolate the absolute value. For this first one here, we're gonna isolate the absolute value, already done. Then we're going to drop our parentheses, or drop our absolute value sign. Step 2, set up equation. So drop our absolute value sign, keep our sign. Then next, we're going to drop our absolute value sign, flip, and make negative. All right, so we do have, this is an and, so we can rewrite it. So let's go ahead and graph first. So I have between 5 and -5 here. So I've got less than 5 going this way and greater than -5 going this way. So it's going to be everything in between here. So then our inequality would be written as x is between -5 and 5. All right. Next up, I want you to go ahead and do this next one on your own. Ooh. All right, what you should have put for this one is you should have dropped your absolute value, kept your sign. This is an and, so then we are going to drop our absolute value, flip, and make negative. To graph, we're kind of off here, but here is -7, here's 7. You get closed dots on both of those, and it's everything in between. All right, for this next one here, I want you to go ahead and try it on your own. All right, so you should have dropped your absolute value, kept your sign, kept it positive. Then you should have dropped, flipped, and made negative. Add 4 to both sides, we get x is less than 7. And then add 4 to both sides on this one, we get x is greater than -1. So x is between -1 and 7. So there's our graph. So this is written as -1 less than x less than 7. On this last one, I forgot to say it, but you could have written it as x is between 7 and -7.